The drama between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni has now escalated into a full-blown legal battle, with both stars suing each other over a tangled web of claims that revolve around their collaboration on the 2024 film It Ends With Us. Lively, known for her roles in Gossip Girl and A Simple Favor, claims that Baldoni, the film's director, tried to destroy her career through a smear campaign after she brought forth allegations of sexual harassment and a hostile work environment against him. On the flip side, Baldoni says Lively went too far by exerting control over the production, threatening to withhold promotion unless her demands were met. He also argues that she falsely portrayed their professional relationship to the public, tarnishing his reputation. And while Lively is suing Baldoni for sexual harassment, retaliation, and false slight invasion of privacy, among other claims, Baldoni is countering with a defamation and civil extortion lawsuit, claiming that Lively not only made false allegations against him, but weaponized them to force him into complying with her demands.
Justin Baldoni has faced a setback in his legal battle with Blake Lively, as a federal judge ruled in Lively's favor. The court granted her request for a strict confidentiality order, restricting access to certain sensitive information. This means that some key evidence will remain private, accessible only to attorneys and not their clients. The decision marks a significant turn in the case, limiting Baldoni's access to crucial details while ensuring legal privacy.
Moment ago, the judge overseeing their federal case in New York, Judge Lyman, ruled on the former B-list actress's request for an additional layer of protection. The unliftable Blake was not happy with the standard protective order in the case. She wanted an attorney's eyes only designation. And the judge has granted that. Congrats to Taylor Swift. Of the judge's ruling, a spokesperson for Delulu says, quote, "Today, the court rejected the Wayfarer party's objections and entered the protections needed to ensure the free flow of discovery material without any risk of witness intimidation or harm to any individual's security. With this order in place, Ms. Lively will move forward in the discovery process to obtain even more of the evidence that will prove her claims in court."
Blake Lively is accusing Justin Baldoni of sexual harassment, followed by an attempted PR takedown of her to cover his own ass from people finding out what he did to her. In an article titled, "We Can Bury Anyone," Blake Lively heroically shared her story, and the world was on her side because it looked like she was just trying to take down a predator in Hollywood. So Justin Baldoni and his ace lawyer launched an all-cylinder fire attack to clear his name, and he started by suing the New York Times, saying that article was just published because it was paid for by Ryan Reynolds, and it was a multi-layered scheme planned out by Blake and Ryan to take down Justin. And I think it's pretty common knowledge that the mainstream media will lie on behalf of their powerful friends or anyone who pays them off to say certain things. But this will be tough because the New York Times has never lost a lawsuit in their life, but Justin just released some very piping hot information that seemingly proves that Blake and Ryan Reynolds were colluding with the New York Times for months.
For Blake Lively, this ruling is a major win. She argued that without these protections, key details could be leaked, misinterpreted, or even used to pressure witnesses. The court sided with her, acknowledging the high stakes involved, not just in business matters, but also in protecting reputations. This decision helps ensure sensitive information remains secure, preventing potential misuse or harm.
Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively court case. A judge has ruled on the protective order. This is a big deal. I'm going to read the 9-page ruling right now. This was emailed out.
Just when people thought Justin Baldoni was finally the bad guy, Blake Lively proved she will always be the bad guy. Justin Baldoni just released a piece of the puzzle that will destroy Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Colleen Hoover, Taylor Swift, the New York Times. He's killing 5 birds with one stone, and they're all getting exposed as liars. So grab your florals and buckle up for all this tea. Throughout this whole campaign, the public has been pretty sternly on Team Justin, but after Justin put out a voicemail that he sent to Blake Lively at 2 a.m. talking about a baby on her boob and he can't wait to spend more time with her, their chemistry is amazing, people thought maybe we should be on Team Blake.
I'm going to stop rambling because Jesus Christ, it's been 6 minutes and 30 seconds, so fuck me. I'm sorry. You probably have kids all over you and a baby on your boob and you're listening to me ramble at 2 in the morning. I can't wait to spend more time with you. Oh,
Blake and Ryan Reynolds were getting bothered by him releasing so much that they asked a judge to put a gag order on Justin to shut him up because they were gagged. Their lawyer said that Justin has further made it clear that his priority is completely torpedoing Blake Lively's career for the rest of her life. And this could actually all be over in 3 days because Blake and Ryan just asked a judge to dismiss this whole court case because they are trying anything to get this to stop because it's ruining their career.
Justin Baldoni and his team strongly oppose these restrictions, arguing that limiting access to key information would make it much harder to build his defense. They claimed it could lead to ongoing disputes over confidentiality. However, the judge remained firm. While not all of Blake Lively's requests were granted, the court upheld strict limits on highly sensitive materials. This decision is a significant setback for Baldoni, and his reaction suggests he's not pleased with the outcome of this legal battle.
We have information and belief that the ex-CIA agent working for Blake Lively is using tactics to divide and conquer as new articles come out, sort of weaponizing the political ideologies that might be trying to dismantle beliefs involved in this case. What does that mean? They're trying to keep us fighting with each other, not with our eyes on the prize. We'll have all of that information coming to you right after this. But first, here it is, the court case. Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni. Last week, it's been about a week or so. Last Thursday, this hearing happened. And again, this is to find out if Blake Lively's discovery would be allowed, or if she'd be, her plan was to say, due to the PR nature and the salacious tendency of people to pick up on every part of a story, we don't think we should have to present some of our text messages in discovery with our high-profile clients, that being Taylor Swift and whoever else. Some people say Bradley Cooper and whatever other friends of Blake Lively might get sucked into this.
Justin Baldoni's legal team quickly objected to the court's ruling, calling the restrictions excessive and unnecessarily complicated. They argued that the confidentiality order would create ongoing legal challenges over what qualifies as confidential, forcing them to return to court repeatedly. According to them, this decision will slow down the entire case, adding extra legal hurdles that could have been avoided. Despite their objections, the court's ruling remains in place, shaping the next phase of the case.
Justin Baldoni's side argued that they think that she shouldn't receive any preferential treatment because she's famous, and we need to see all this information. We'll redact it, we'll keep it from the public, and they say, no, you'll leak it. So here's what the judge has to say. Blake Lively versus plaintiff, which is Wayfair Studios, and then we have Wayfair Studios, plaintiff versus Blake Lively. So they're kind of both suing each other, so it's all in one. Judge Lehman, United States District Judge, whereas and by the way, he's going to be able to issue like a full protective order or partial, so we're going to have to just see what this is all about. Whereas all of the parties to this action, collectively the parties and individually a party, request that this court issue a protective order pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 26C to protect the confidentiality of certain non-public and confidential material that will be exchanged pursuant to and during the course of discovery in this case. Whereas the parties acknowledge that this protective order does not confer blanket protections on all disclosures or responses to discovery, and that the protection it affords only extends to the limited information or items that are entitled under the applicable legal principles to confidential treatment. Whereas the parties further acknowledge that this protective order does not create entitlement to file confidential information under seal. And whereas in light of these acknowledgments and based on the representations of the parties that discovery in this case will involve confidential documents or information the public disclosure of which will cause harm to the producing person,
Judge Louis Lyman viewed the case differently, emphasizing that it involves more than just legal disputes. It includes serious allegations of misconduct, business competition, and reputational risks. He ruled that extra caution is necessary, stating that restricting access to sensitive materials is the best way to prevent leaks, manipulation, or intimidation. This decision reinforces the need for strict confidentiality in the legal battle.
Baldoni started editing the footage that had already been shot. But that's when Lively apparently expressed a strong interest in accessing the raw dailies. These are usually unshared with the cast, according to Baldoni. But Lively apparently also wanted to have a hand in the editing process, and a text from her appears to read, "Hey, would you mind giving me access to the dailies? I appreciate you may be too slammed right now to make this happen, but maybe someone else can facilitate?" And just to put a point on this, dailies are a critical point of the filmmaking process, the editing process. The actors don't typically get access to them. If they do, it's usually rare, requires special permission. But here, Lively allegedly repeatedly pushed for access to this because it was evidenced by her follow-up text in July of 2023 that reads, "Please let me know who to reach out to get access to the full gallery of dailies. I'm so looking forward to seeing all that we have in the can." This request allegedly raised some concern among the film's crew. A producer and the CEO of Wayfarer Studios, Jamie Heath, are reportedly shown to be against granting Lively access to the dailies because the messages from the lawsuit reveal their apparent resistance to the idea. There's one that says, "I'd say no, but check her contract first." That's what one producer says. And then a response, supposedly from Heath, says, "It's an absolute no from me as well." This series of texts shows that while Lively seemed to be involved and invested in the production, she was also seen by some crew members as trying to maybe overstep professional boundaries, particularly when it comes to the editing process. Baldoni argues that Lively's attempts to control these aspects of the film, like the editing and the wardrobe choices, were part of a broader strategy to manipulate him and assert her power and dominance over this project.
It's really destroying Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's image, bro.
What happened?
It all revolves around like fake allegations towards Justin Baldoni, right? So Blake Lively's claiming that there were sexual assault allegations towards Justin Baldoni, and Justin's like, "I have all the receipts, I have all the videos." So it's just a lot of drama.
Do you think this is fake beef like Drake and Kendrick?
No, because I think that for either one of them,
They're
this
just
is
trying to
like
sell the movie.
detrimental to their career. You know what I mean?
But it ends with us. I want to make this very clear. Ryan Reynolds, if you get past this clip of us talking about your relationship, just know, I don't care. I still love you, man.
Oh, that's
I love your movies. I love everything you did.
I actually hope things get so complicated and terrible for you guys that you guys break up and then I slide into Blake Lively's life.
A major setback for Justin Baldoni. He won't have direct access to certain evidence. While his lawyers can review it, they can't share every detail with him, potentially leaving him unaware of key aspects of the case. His legal team fought hard against this restriction, arguing it puts him at a serious disadvantage. They insisted that full transparency between attorneys and clients is essential for a fair trial, but the judge remained unconvinced, upholding strict confidentiality measures in the case.
Unaware of anybody, frankly, whose wife has been sexually harassed and has made jokes about that type of situation.
Justin, if I'm not mistaken, is on vacation right now with his kids in Hawaii. Is he still there? Do you speak to him?
I do speak to him. I speak to him often. I wouldn't call it vacation. I don't think anybody who's been accused of heinous, arguably what are crimes, is on vacation. I think that he is trying to gather with his family and get some semblance of peace.
The court's strict confidentiality order is designed to prevent leaks, especially in an industry where news spreads rapidly. In a case involving high-profile celebrities, the risk of sensitive information getting out is high. Even if documents don't reach the press, they could still circulate within Hollywood's tight circles, potentially harming reputations before the trial even begins. This ruling ensures that key details remain protected throughout the legal process.
Reveal what really happened. A campaign to tarnish Lively after she alleged that Justin Baldoni, her co-star and director, and Jamie Heath, the producer, had engaged in misconduct while shooting the film.
Now, again, keyword there, the alleged smear campaign, but listen to what Megan herself, the author, says.
In a legal complaint Lively filed on Friday, private text messages and other documents that we've obtained reveal what really happened.
So right there, Chris, that's not an opinion. That's not a maybe. That's not a what really happened. Now, is that going to be problematic for them?
Oh my, Justin Baldoni's lawyers have now leaked the official footage of her alleged sexual harassment, and I now need this to go to trial. So the story goes, essentially, he says she didn't even read the book before signing on to the project. Then she read the book and kind of became consumed with it and wanted to basically introduce her own lines and wanted to become a part of the project and rework the script. So she submitted to him her ideas for how to rework the script. And apparently he gave her feedback, essentially saying like, I really love how passionate you are about this project. Maybe we'll take some of these ideas, but like, obviously we're not going to take all these ideas because it's our project. And this was not good for Blake.
Balake.
She wrote this. This is her text message back to Justin Baldoni. She wrote, "If you ever get around to watching Game of Thrones, you'll appreciate that I'm Khaleesi. And like her, I happen to have a few dragons. For better or worse, but usually for better. Because my dragons also protect those that I fight for. So really, we all benefit from those gorgeous monsters of mine. You will too, I can promise." Smiley face. I'm so scared.
For Blake Lively, this ruling marks a significant victory. Her legal team argued that without these protections, sensitive evidence could be misused, either leaked to the media or used to pressure witnesses. A spokesperson for Lively praised the judge's decision, stating that it ensures a fair discovery process, free from outside manipulation. With these safeguards in place, she can now move forward with gathering evidence, confident that it won't be misinterpreted or used against her unfairly.
They're going in vouching for the story. That's where they made the mistake. If they would have said, Blake alleges that, or according to Blake, blah, 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 this happened, they'd be protected. But they said, and her title is investigative journalist. So she's investigative journalist for the New York Times. So that is implying that she's done an investigation. She's actually looked in this. We can trust her. We can trust the New York Times. They've done their vetting. That's the representation impliedly it's being made. And she's saying, yes, there's a lawsuit by Blake, but we, the New York Times, have looked into it, and this is what really happened. So now they're stating as a fact, not as an opinion, that this happened, and that's how they're going to get into trouble.
For Justin Baldoni, this ruling presents a major challenge to his defense strategy. He now has to rely solely on his legal team to interpret and navigate evidence he may never see firsthand. This puts him in a difficult position, especially given the serious allegations that could affect his career and reputation. His team has already expressed frustration with the decision, hinting that they may push back against certain aspects of the ruling as the case progresses.
For those who are not in the Hollywood world, what is wrong with her taking over the film?
I've never seen it before in my 30-plus year career in Hollywood. And an executive producer is below a producer in the film world. An executive producer signed up to be an executive producer, and that's it. As the time progressed in this film, she decided that she wanted to be a producer. She started to make edits. She wanted to be part of the editing team. There were people hired, like human beings actually hired to do the editing job, who had done work as editors. She wanted to be part of that team. The next thing you know, she took over the editing. She started making threats that she wouldn't promote the movie, that she wanted to be in control of marketing of the movie, that she would do nothing in terms of promotion unless she was the actual editor.
While the judge upheld the strictest parts of the confidentiality order, he denied one of Blake Lively's broader requests. She initially sought to classify anything potentially harmful as confidential, but the court found this too vague. Instead, the ruling limits confidentiality to materials highly likely to cause significant harm. This means some documents may still be accessible, but anything deemed truly sensitive or damaging will remain sealed to protect those involved in the case.
If I was on the Baldoni side, I'd feel pretty good. I'd feel like, wow, we got almost everything we wanted. I mean, yes, we have, a few things that are attorney's eyes only, but we stopped the Lively attorneys from being able to unilaterally designate anything and everything. And we now have some grounds where we can push back on them if they over-designate things, such as designating highly personal information that is relevant to the case.
Justin Baldoni's frustration is understandable. In high-stakes cases like this, having full access to evidence is crucial. His legal team argues that the ruling makes it harder for him to defend himself properly, claiming that restricting his access to key information is unfair and could give Blake Lively an advantage. However, the court remains firm. The judge emphasized that these restrictions are not about favoring one side, but about preventing unnecessary harm outside the courtroom. He also noted that in lawsuits involving celebrities, highly personal and potentially damaging information is bound to emerge. That's just the nature of high-profile cases. The court's responsibility is to manage the fallout as carefully as possible, ensuring that sensitive materials are handled appropriately while maintaining fairness in the legal process for both parties.
Hey, wait a minute. Lively filed her complaint. The New York Times did a whole piece on this. They claim it was coordinated, that the complaint and the New York Times piece came out at the same time. And Baldoni, by the way, is suing the New York Times, too, saying that they presented a misleading story of what happened. The bottom line is they're saying, look, our clients, their names have been tarnished. We have a right to respond publicly since Blake Lively made this so public. But again, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds said this is not the way a lawyer should operate. You should not be presenting this evidence in the public right now. It could inappropriately and materially prejudice a trial. Who's right here?
Well, legally, Lively's right. I mean, since this case now is a federal case, lawyers are bound, quite frankly, to avoid at all cost these kinds of public statements, interviews, etc. I think they're going to get their gag, at least on the participants, which would obviously be the lawyers and perhaps Mr. Baldoni. That's not going to stop it. Emissaries, third parties, friends, other colleagues will bring up the carry the torch in this regard. But I think they got a really good legal argument on trying to stop it now. The problem is it might just be too late.
Justin Baldoni's next move remains uncertain, but his legal team is likely exploring ways to challenge the order. They may seek exceptions or appeal certain restrictions, arguing that some confidential materials are crucial to his defense and should be accessible to him. However, for now, the confidentiality order remains in place, limiting his direct access to key evidence. This means Baldoni will have to navigate the case with significant legal restrictions in place.
Baldoni writes, an unredacted name, so we don't know who this person is, believes that she will then start to edit the movie and tell me which takes to use if she has access to everything. And another text from him reads, also, this is exactly how the writing process started. She asked if it was okay if she could take a pass at some dialogue tweaks on the rooftop scene. Okay, so Baldoni seems to suggest that he heard from someone else that Lively was planning to take control of the editing process. And when Lively allegedly pressed him on her access to the footage, Baldoni appears to respond politely, but he's also firm. Because look at this text. Regarding dailies, again, this is to Blake Lively, regarding dailies, obviously you know I want your input. That's why I sent the 5-hour playlist. But at this point, it's too early for me to share all the dailies. Once I am physically in the edit and have touched scenes myself, I'd love to share with you. Lively, however, did not appear to be easily deterred because she allegedly pressed further with this response. Regarding dailies, none of the producers have had access to dailies. It's just you. So Baldoni responds. He clarifies that the dailies were restricted to only the top-level people on the film, responding, no, not just me. Redacted name and Jamie Heath have access to dailies. So this exchange highlights how Baldoni was trying to maintain control over the editing process, but Lively's alleged insistence seemed to grow stronger and stronger from there.
It was a big win in court today for Fakely. However, she shouldn't be celebrating too hard.
The stakes in this case couldn't be higher. With the new confidentiality protections in place, Blake Lively now has the ability to build her case without fear of leaks or outside influence. This gives her a significant advantage, allowing her legal team to gather evidence securely and without interference. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni finds himself at a disadvantage, unable to access certain key materials that could be crucial to his defense. Industry insiders are already debating the implications of this ruling. Some believe it's a strategic move by Lively's team to strengthen her case while keeping Baldoni's side on the defensive. Others argue that the confidentiality order is necessary due to the sensitive nature of the allegations and the potential fallout. Regardless of perspective, one thing is certain. This decision changes the landscape of the case. It restricts Baldoni's ability to fully prepare while allowing Lively to proceed with fewer concerns about leaks, fueling his frustration.
Man, I thought we were going to talk about Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. That's what I thought we were going to
About this, every white person in my life.
Yo,
Tell me about shit.
you know what's interesting? This is interesting.
Like that. I don't give a fuck about that shit.
No, I know you don't give a fuck yet. It's not there yet, but black people are going to start caring soon, but it's not there yet. I know. What guys just started caring this week?
She has been trying to tell me this story for
Bro, I'm
and
telling
I'm like,
you.
I don't care.
You don't care because you don't know what's going on. The second you find out what's going on, it's going to be the only.
Ryan Reynolds in it because you know I like Deadpool and
Oh, he tried to bring himself in it.
Yeah. Really?
Oh, this is crazy.
It's too much.
It's so deep.
Justin Baldoni's legal team has made it clear that this is just the beginning of their challenges. They argue that the strict confidentiality order will create ongoing disputes over what can and cannot be shared, potentially dragging the case out even longer. His attorneys anticipate multiple legal battles ahead as they push for more transparency and challenge confidentiality designations in court. Meanwhile, Blake Lively is celebrating a major legal victory, with the court backing her request for confidentiality. She can move forward with confidence, knowing that the evidence she collects will be protected from leaks or outside influence. This ruling allows her team to build their case without interference, while Baldoni faces the difficult task of defending himself with limited access to crucial information. This legal showdown is far from over, and emotions are running high on both sides. The next phase of the case could be even more intense, with each side determined to gain the upper hand. Baldoni may have lost this round, but he isn't backing down. The real question is, how much more damage will be done before this battle reaches its conclusion?